The manual gearbox is going extinct, and with electric cars on the rise, diesel and petrol bans being introduced in the next 10 years, it's very likely that automatics will come into play a lot more and manuals will just be disappearing completely. And I think this is really sad for the car enthusiast, so I wanted to debunk some myths, answer some questions, and actually, will it be sad? Will we just get some really great cars that are automatics and electric? And will they even still create manuals? Well, in this video, let's find out. It's no secret that the manual gearbox is dying out slowly, and it's really sad for a lot of car enthusiasts who will probably not be able to enjoy the cars that they once used to. Yes, we will still have electric cars, and yes, they will still be fun, but a lot of the cars that are changing are because of the way we're changing it as a planet. Less emissions, electric cars, no gearbox is needed, and it's actually super sad. There was a CNBC study that was done in 2019 where only 2% of Americans bought a manual car.
Wow.
Now, I know this is very common for people in America, and not so much for people like us in the UK, or even the rest of Europe, in fact, where we don't have big winding roads, and we just need something that will get us up big hills, and reasons why electric cars probably won't be as good as they might be in America. But I think it's a shame that we're going to lose out on cars as well. But there's a couple of reasons why the manual is dying and why the automatic gearbox is getting bigger, not to name the fact it's an electric setup. Well, I've reduced it down to two different reasons, one of which is performance and one of which is efficiency, and I'm going to talk about those now. Let's discuss performance because I think that's really important, and it's obviously where the car enthusiast starts. For most people, they wouldn't really care what times a car goes 0 to 60, and they'll do anything to shrink that number as much as possible when it comes to manufacturers. For example, Tesla have a really good, well-known fact that their car's acceleration is incredible, but their speed is not so much. Now, when it comes to speed, it's not all that bad, because with Teslas and other electric cars, other supercars that might come out in that time, even like the Rimac, for example, these have been proper rockets, and some of them go to 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds, and that's all down to some of the automatic gearbox. This means it's going to be an incredibly fast car. That means you lose the gears that you might lose it in a race, because in that time you're having to shift personally, and that's going to slow you down. Yes, a lot of people will argue that the car won't be the same driving experience, but I think over time it will change, and it will make the cars a lot better created from the manufacturers, and the supercars and sports car makers will be even better when they come to make those cars over time. I think it's just a technology issue. Like I said before, Porsche's PDK automatic gearbox changes gears in just 8 milliseconds, and that double clutch technology is trickling down into more consumer level cars. Now, when you look at Nissan Leafs, for example, those cars may not have been great to start with back 5-6 years ago when they were having those automatic gearboxes, or even like flappy paddles. But automatic gearboxes are the future when it comes to shifting and changing gears in a quick manner so that performance is faster. I don't think this will lose all manuals, but it's definitely going to go that way, because when it's electric, what's the point of having a gearbox? Efficiency is number 2 on this list, and it's a common argument that manual transmissions are more efficient than their automatic counterparts. And while that may have been true in the 1980s, things have definitely changed since. According to EPA, the number of gears in an automatic transmission surpassed that of a manual. In automatic transmissions now, you're very likely to see not just the normal 6 or 5, but you're likely to see 7, 8, 9, 10 transmissions. And the reason for this in automatic cars is that they're better fuel economy. Higher gears essentially equals fewer revs on the road, and it will mean better gas or fuel economy. Now, this is all very well and good, but as a enthusiast person who drives manuals, it seems a shame that when you have small rural areas, yes, America's big, it's going to be easier for the automatic gearbox. I understand them for that reason. They may never have even driven one. But for us, we need them in certain areas where we like to drive up and down hills or the tight bends. I prefer it for that reason. And simply, efficiency is the reason why the automatic gearbox will become bigger and better over time. Hopefully it will not ruin cars though, and the enthusiast will still be able to enjoy this pleasure of driving. I really hope for this, the car enthusiast, as well as people who just enjoy driving anyway, that the manual stays around. I'm sure it definitely will, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere soon, but I can definitely see it going extinct in the next 10 years or so, where it just won't be needed. And I think when I look at the statistics and for data, it does seem to make sense that why would you need a manual gearbox? Maybe some new cars up until the 2030 ban on diesel and petrol will still continue to have manuals, but after that, it really doesn't make sense. Maybe they will keep them in race cars and rallying and Formula One. That's probably more likely. But as a driver's car, it does seem a shame that they're going to disappear. I do think, though, we should look at the positives of automatic because they will be getting better and better over time. And in fact, we'll probably still have, if not better driving experience when it comes to 10 years' time. And there's a brand new Toyota GR86 out. I like to think that the electric cars will be even faster and more enthusiastic. But I think the manufacturers do need to get it right for us and really appreciate what we're after as car enthusiasts and drivers. But also make it appreciating for the people who are learning as well. Hope you've enjoyed this Cars with Ben video. Don't forget to subscribe if you like car content.